So continuing with the guard retention videos, this time we're going to talk about breaking and neutralizing grips. So in the first video we discussed, there's three basic methods that the guard retainer can use to retain his or her guard. Framing, breaking, neutralizing grips, and spacing, right? So we're going to discuss breaking grips. So for the person who's trying to pass the guard, more often than not, especially when we're doing gi, they're going to try to get some grips to get some degree of control over me before they initiate their pass. So as soon as this happens, I need to think about breaking the grips. And over time, as you get more experience, you'll realize which grips are threatening and which grips are not. In the beginning, it's generally a good idea to break as many grips as possible. So when we're talking about breaking collar grips, if you look at the grip, the first thing you want to deal with is get the thumb out of the way. Now in jiu-jitsu, we don't grab people's thumbs and bend them back and forth, but it's okay to use the palm of your hand on the thumb, push it over to the other side, and now we get 2-on-1 grip. Now, when we're breaking these grips, whether it's standing or whether it's like in a seated guard position, I need to have some space in order to break this, because it's not just about arm strength. To break these grips effectively, especially if you're competing, these grips are going to be really strong. So we get the thumb over to one side, and then as I get my 2-on-1 grips, my two hands gripping his one, it's not just arm, but I also use my core strength to move me away. And that's a much more powerful way to remove that grip. If I'm already on the mat and my opponent has a collar grip here, this is unrealistic for me to simply use arm strength against him. And I cannot use my core strength because my back is already to the mat, so I can't go any further away, okay? And we'll discuss that in a minute, because in this situation, you want to neutralize this grip. We'll discuss that in a second. Okay, so if we're talking about, we just did a collar grip. If we're talking about pant grips, opponent standing has pant grips, it's a good idea, you re-grip them, and then you can kick your leg free, okay? Again, re-grip your opponent, and then kick your leg free. Grip your opponent, kick your leg free. That's a good way for breaking pant grips. If your opponent gets a cuff grip, you can do this, but again, this is going to be hard because I need space. So to do that lawnmower move, which is typically done from the top, where you do this, that's great if I'm sitting, but if I'm laying down and I try to do that, it's not going to work because my arm cannot go through the floor. So in this situation, I would make a C with my hand, come around, and push. Again, he grips, make a C, come around, push. Okay. So we discussed breaking, an example of breaking collar grips, breaking pant grips, breaking cuff grips. So in situations where you cannot break them, let's just say he's got double pant grips, I'm kicking, I cannot break it. We still need to deal with this. So instead of breaking it, we're going to neutralize it. And what that means is making the grip less effective. Okay? One effective way for dealing with this, simply insert my spider hooks. Now I'm playing spider guard. Yes, he has his grips on me, but I have now inserted my longest range frames, which is basically going to make these grips less effective. Okay? Another example of neutralizing a grip, let's say partner comes in close, and I'm playing this knee shield game. He has a tight grip on the collar. I'm trying to break this, but I cannot use my core strength because my back is against the mat. So in this situation, I'm going to neutralize this grip. So I'm going to create a little space, insert a lasso hook, okay? And that's an example of neutralizing the grips, okay? So that's a little summary of breaking and neutralizing grips.